This video, I'm going to be watching and reacting to a new CNBC video about Tesla's full self-driving beta software, an experiment on public roads. I haven't watched this video yet, but I had a lot of requests via DM for me to react to this, so we'll watch it together in real time and I'll share my thoughts along the way. I have a funny feeling there may perhaps be a slight negative bias in this particular piece. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I will be. So let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can get 2 free stocks with WeBull, a free stock with Stake, free Bitcoin with Coinbase, and free Bitcoin with BlockFi, and the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. Here we are, the video we'll be watching, Tesla's FSD beta, an experiment on public roads, published 8 hours ago by CNBC. But before we do, just out of interest, I've just done a search here on YouTube for Tesla CNBC. I'm not sure, it auto-corrected to CNBC for some strange reason, but whatever, YouTube's not perfect. It's obviously a mistake, it's CNBC. But anyway, I just want to show some of the other search results for this same search. Let's just have a quick glance at the thumbnails here. Tesla's service is still its weakness. This one, yet to be seen, but notice the wording in the thumbnail. Tesla's FSD beta, uncensored, suggesting that there's stuff that people would like to be censored or ordinarily is being censored. Ooh, what's the uncensored thing? What aren't they showing us? Blah, 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 blah. So it's a little bit salacious as well. And the third one here, why VW is beating Tesla in Europe. At least 2 out of the 3 top results for Tesla on CNBC seem to have a negative spin. The FSD beta video, on the other hand, well, I've yet to watch it. I harbor my suspicions though that it might fall in line with the trend of negativity towards Tesla.
Now we're going to make this left turn. And I'm getting honked at. But now it's just turn right. We're supposed to go left. We just ran a red light.
Hold up for a second here. I just want to intervene. I mean, obviously, a little bit of a negative spin already, but every intro is talking about the car doing something illegal, running a red light. Let's just roll back a bit. Let's you guys pay attention. I might zoom in on when I edit this. Is that not somebody that's breaking the law there? Their wheels are not supposed to be there. Same here. 2 people already. 3. There's probably another one as well over the line, breaking the law literally as it's running the red light. Now, I'm not trying to justify the thing makes mistakes at speed of software, but this is real life. Mistakes do occur on roads, human and FSD beta. I just want to point this out because at this point in time, it's almost sort of painting a bit of a picture that this software is bad, dangerous, unsafe, breaks the law. And I mean, in the very first, 20 seconds in or so, we can see other examples of the law being broken at this point in time, never mind the other person in the intersection here as well. So let's continue.
We just ran a red light.
Yep, over the yellow.
I'm going to get a ticket for this.
This is Taylor Ogan. He's the founder and CEO of Snowball Capital.
I just want to take a break here. Don't know if you guys and girls know how the media ecosystem works, but practically, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20% of the stories we see at most have actually been discovered versus presented. What I mean by this is somebody who has something to promote. By the way, I've done this in the past myself. I've done a bunch of media appearances with an old finance business, talking about my real estate portfolio, blah, blah, blah. It's great for exposure for your business. So what we see here, Snowball Capital, invest in the future. Within 35 or 6 seconds of this video beginning, we already have a plug for a service offered by the person who has a really great way of finding themselves on CNBC. Oh, let's test out this beta software. It's going to make lots of mistakes. It's going to be great. People will be fearful. It's perfect for the FUD. I'll get a lot of interest in my business. I'll generate a lot of eyeballs. That's good for me. Let's do it. Now, I'm not saying this is the case, but hypothetically, I don't know, you had a company and it was relevant to the discussion and you had a really negative thing that you could present to a news organization to share with the world. It gets tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of views. Would that be beneficial to your business? Sure fucking right it would be. So just keep this in mind as we continue with this video. Just saying.
A hedge fund that invests in green and high-tech sectors. Ogun is a self-proclaimed Tesla fan and says that he's owned the stock since the company went public. Recently, he invited CNBC to ride along with him in his 2020 Tesla Model Y, as he tested out Tesla's FSD Beta 10.8.1 software in Brooklyn, New York.
Jeez. I don't know if you realize what just happened, but that's the closest I've ever seen.
Ogun is not a professional test driver, nor is he a Tesla employee. Instead, he's one of the over 50,000 customers that Tesla has allowed to access FSD Beta. FSD Beta, which stands for Full Self-Driving Beta, can be best summarized as a host of new driver assistant features that are not yet debugged. Chief among them is Auto Steer on city streets, which enables drivers to automatically navigate around complex urban environments without moving the steering wheel with their own hands.
Okay, I'm gonna take over there. So it wanted to change lanes in the middle of an intersection there and cut off the guy behind me.
The system is anything but self-driving and still requires constant attention and intervention from the driver, a caveat that Tesla highlights on its website.
With it being a beta, I've seen that at any time the car could just make a mistake, and I have to be ready for that. Right now, my stress levels go up, not down, from using full self-driving, but that's the cost of making it better.
Tesla's FSD Beta program is heavily scrutinized by regulators and has earned Tesla side-eye from competitors, who usually have professionally trained drivers, not customers, test driver assistant features in their vehicles. But for now, the program is still available for thousands of Tesla owners to access, without the knowledge of drivers and pedestrians around them.
Tesla is pushing the bounds of what is possible with self-driving, and they've got to be applauded for that. On the other hand, they're taking a huge gamble with this by putting an incomplete or a buggy piece of software on the roads.
CNBC went.
Just have to take a moment here as well to clarify. Most people watching this channel will understand, but it's really important that you get this. The way that this software reaches human level and then exceeds human level in terms of capability, which ultimately means safety, is by learning and improving, collecting data in the real world. This is why Tesla's rolling this beta software out. More than 1 million people die on roads annually. When you talk about an experiment on public roads, per the title of this CNBC video, how's this for an experiment on public roads? 1.5, 2 billion? Human drivers driving around. We've just descended from the trees in the scheme of things. Talk about a dangerous experiment. Got a bunch of chimpanzees driving around these 2-ton death machines, killing over 1 million of ourselves every year, permanently injuring or disabling more than 10 times that amount. So context matters, because the ultimate goal, the end destination of this software is to save millions of lives per year. And for what it's worth, last we heard, there haven't been any accidents, any collisions on FSD Beta. There have been no deaths, no fatalities, no injuries, no permanent disabilities to date. So keep this in mind, it's an important piece of information. This software thus far, in the hands of about 60,000 drivers in the United States, that ultimately will save millions of lives, has yet to even hurt anyone. It seems so far it's been safely deployed on public roads.
For a ride with 3 FSD Beta testers in different parts of the country to see how the system performs in the real world and explore what this program could mean for the future of vehicle automation. Before we get into our ride-alongs, it's important to understand what FSD Beta can and can't do. The way that Tesla markets its driver assistance packages has historically been confusing. Tesla's standard driver assistance package is marketed as Autopilot. Its functionality includes automatic emergency braking, forward collision warning, lane keeping, and adaptive cruise control, which matches the speed of your car to that of the surrounding traffic. For an extra $12,000 or $199 per month, Tesla sells an option it calls Full Self-Driving, or FSD. The premium package includes more sophisticated features like automatic lane changing, automatic parking, and Smart Summon, which lets drivers call their car from a parking spot to come pick them up. FSD Beta takes this one step further, with unfinished features like auto steer on city streets and traffic light and stop sign control, which identifies stop signs and traffic lights and automatically slows your car to a stop upon approach. Although they may sound advanced, none of these packages come even close to making Tesla's vehicles autonomous.
When we're talking about FSD Beta here, we're talking really about a system that is an SAE Level 2 system that is designed to assist the driver in a wide variety of different situations, but the driver at all times is responsible for the control of the vehicle.
By comparison, a robo-taxi would be level 4 or higher.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that people think that this is somehow going to be a robotaxi.
Listening to Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who's been promising driverless cars since 2016, it's easy to see why people may believe that.
My personal guess is that we'll achieve full self-driving this year at a safety level significantly greater than a person. Over time, we think full self-driving will become the most important source of profitability for Tesla. If you run the numbers on robotaxis, it's nutty good from a financial standpoint.
In order to gain access to FSD beta, participants have to first allow Tesla to monitor their driving for a period of time until they can earn a high enough safety score.
Before we go any further, I just want to point out, this is an extremely intelligent way of gatekeeping this software. It's great. Tesla actually monitors the safety profile of drivers over a period of time, and if you don't meet a certain threshold, you cannot access this software. Tesla isn't just allowing any idiot to download this software. You must prove that you can drive safely. If you can't, no access. Tesla wasn't vetting customers whatsoever. I could totally see this would be a problem, but they are.
The score is calculated based on 5 metrics specified by Tesla. Those who qualify are allowed to download FSD beta via an over-the-air update. While some testers say that earning a high score is hard and require driving even more cautiously than they typically would, Ogun says he was able to easily game the system.
The way I got a 100 on the safety score was I drove like a grandma for 103 miles, and then I didn't drive it for a week, and then I had a 100 safety score, and then I was granted access to the beta software.
Newer Tesla vehicles have in-cabin cameras, which are supposed to monitor drivers and alert them if they're not paying attention. If a driver gets enough warnings, the car can disable driver assistance features temporarily. After several warnings, a driver may get kicked out of the FSD beta program entirely.
Hold up here. We're going to go back here, okay? This guy in the video, Taylor or whatever his name is, guy's got a passenger in the vehicle, camera person, GoPros in his face, and he's holding a mobile phone, still looking at the road per the rear vision mirror at this point in time. But let me ask a question. Should something go awry and Taylor, whatever his name was, need to react quickly, in which situation do you think would be the safest setup? Having a camera crew, camera pointed in your face, dicking around with a phone, pretending you're not paying attention to the road, holding a phone, being filmed, playing it up for the cameras, etc., allegedly, or having none of these distractions and just paying attention to the road. The reason that I'm asking the question here is just in case there's any hypocrisy that occurs at any point in this video about safety and not paying attention and blah, blah, blah. For example, if anybody appears to express concern about the dangerous, incomplete software that could go wrong at any moment and injure or kill somebody who maybe participated in an example of suboptimal driving in terms of potential distraction.
Newer Tesla vehicles have in-cabin cameras, which are supposed to monitor drivers and alert them if they're not paying attention.
This is on a public road. Unless I'm mistaken, they've built a set with real shops, commercial real estate here, a car parked. This is actually on a public road, and the guy's literally carrying a phone, looking down and not looking at the road at this point in time. Now, I'm sure it's slow speed, but you guys and girls understand my point, right? Be mindful.
Attention. If a driver gets enough warnings,
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
the car can disable driver assistance features temporarily. After several warnings, a driver may get kicked out of the FSD beta program entirely. But not all Teslas have camera-based driver monitoring, and those with cameras are far from perfect. Kelly Funkhauser's been testing Tesla's Autopilot and FSD beta on a closed route for Consumer Reports, and says that a lot of the time, Tesla's driver monitoring systems simply didn't work.
In our testing, we weren't able to really get that camera to be sufficient for, monitoring attention, because we could cover it and there would be no difference as if, the camera wasn't even there. And as long as you have your hands on the wheel, even if you're looking at your phone or totally distracted or asleep, you'd never get any of those warnings to pay attention. For full self-driving beta,
Again, I just want to take a quick moment here. Yep, sure, if you put tape over the camera or mess with the system and try to get around it, you may find a way. It is what it is. But if you take proactive steps to knowingly do something dangerous and avert the safety protocols in the system, do you blame the system or yourself for being a fucking idiot? Just for those who don't know, Con Job Reports or Con the Consumer Reports, I can't remember what their name is, something like that, seem to have a very clear anti-Tesla agenda. They've literally created content showing people step by step how to dangerously drive and operate a Tesla vehicle illegally on public roads. Of course, they did it on their test track, but the information they showed, here's how to get around the system and do something really fucking dangerous and dumb, and then they published this and millions of people see this.
When Tesla claims that they have these additional messages that say things like the camera is blocked or to please pay attention, we've never experienced any of those warnings.
We decided to run our own tests with the in-cabin camera using Ogun's Model Y. The first time, we covered the camera before attempting to engage FSD beta, and
Why would you actively take a step to cover the camera that's monitoring you for safety as part of the terms you've agreed when you've signed up for FSD beta? Why would you knowingly violate these terms of the agreement and knowingly do something that you know is going to cause safety issues out on a public road with a fucking film crew, no less? Serious question. Oh, that's right. Maybe a business interest. Capital management. Just saying. What do you think the producers of this segment were thinking? Clicks, content, bit of danger, drama, fear, uncertainty, and doubt? Because, I mean, look what's going on here. This is absolute fucking insanity. This is, remember, technology that will save millions upon millions upon millions of lives, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people avoiding permanent disability or injury. And this is what we're doing.
and we're unable to do so.
Yep, cabin camera is covered or blinded.
When we covered the camera after FSD beta was already engaged, we were able to drive for about a block before the system turned off and gave us a strike. During our drive in Brooklyn, FSD beta struggled with pedestrians.
Here's a pedestrian. We have the right of way. We have a green. And look at that. It just slammed on the... She wasn't crossing.
Given that this is beta software, it's unfinished at this point in time. Should you be deploying this software on public roads and be concerned about people's safety, would it be a reasonable thing to do to make sure the software is overly cautious when you could potentially cause an injury, disability, or kill somebody? I personally would say that's a reasonable thing to do. I understand you don't want the car slamming on its brakes unexpectedly, but this is par for the course, especially when it comes to safety. Would you prefer the vehicle went flying through, assuming that the person wasn't going to step out, even though she was giving signs of actually moving forward? Now let's go back and watch that one more time. We're going to watch this at quarter speed. So there's a pedestrian here, still moving forward. She's still in motion at this point in time, very close to the actual intersection, still moving forward. Keep that in mind. Still moving forward. Now she's stopped. Now she's moved her leg forward again. She's taken another step forward, and her back leg has moved forward a tiny bit as well, which is an indicator she's going to take another step. I personally would have probably braked here as well. I'm a very cautious driver, hence I haven't killed people on the roads, which is probably a good thing. And I personally think that this software should be overly cautious as well, but that was actually reasonable. Not gonna lie, the people watching this are like, dude, really? Slowing down? As if you would do that. You're the kind of people that one day will accidentally kill an idiot who stepped out in front of your car because you weren't paying attention. Kids aren't the only people that do dumb shit like this. By the way, I'm not hating on this woman here. I'm just pointing out that it's important for the vehicle, for the software to be extremely cautious in these cases. Did nothing wrong there, so I'm not sure that this is really a negative. Of course, it's being painted as if it's having trouble with pedestrians, which doesn't sound good, does it? You might be making pedestrian pancakes. That's what you might assume hearing the terminology. So let's continue.
Look at that. It just slammed on the... She wasn't crossing. She was waiting to cross.
Traffic lights.
Okay, I don't know why we're stopped here.
He doesn't know why the car stopped. Geez. Here's a hint. I don't know where this is and what law this is or isn't, but there's people standing on the fucking zebra crossing, whatever you guys call it, right? One here, both facing the direction that... anyway, let's continue.
And now we just missed the light. Sorry, yeah, this woman's laughing at me. We can't help but laugh.
And complex intersections.
It doesn't want to go, there's a bus behind us. Or it's just not going anywhere. And now it's creeping. No. Now it's trying to go right. We're in the middle of an 8-way intersection.
An 8-way intersection. Certainly a good way to stress test the system here.
Just stuck in the middle. So of course I have to take over.
At one point during the drive, Ogun restarted the system and was able to engage FSD even with the screen still black.
Yeah. The screen is black. And the car is driving itself. I have no idea what it can see. I don't know if it's engaged or not.
For the record, the visual output, the display there, totally unrelated to the actual computer driving the vehicle. The screen's off, doesn't change what the computer can see or not. The only reason the screen's there is to show the driver what's going on.
You can see the wheel turning. I don't know which way it wants to turn. It just slammed on the brakes. There's a school bus behind me. I just got honked at. And look at that. See that, Pete Buttigieg?
FSD beta did not fare much better in San Francisco, where we also tested version 10.8.1. Complex intersections.
Hold on one sec. Yeah, okay. So that's me getting honked at again. It got a little bit confused by that intersection.
Pedestrians.
Okay, so
again, I just want to point out, pedestrian a second ago puts a foot down into the street, in the path of the car. This is again one of those situations where I'd be cautious as well. Just to be sure, maybe this person is inebriated, they're not quite together, maybe they've got some mental health issues, maybe it could be a very tall kid, could do something unexpected. Again, being cautious, I think this is a good thing. It's being painted negatively as almost as if, again, this software is unsafe. Yet so far, a lot of the negative points are actually it being extremely cautious, which I assume you would want, right?
So it's worried about those pedestrians over there. That's a pretty hard stop.
And traffic lights all seem to pose problems.
Okay, so now it's confused. It's stopping in the middle. Okay, so yeah, so that guy behind me is like justifiably upset because I stopped in the middle of an intersection when the light was green. When I'm using the FSD, I'd say I'm less worried about hitting a pedestrian than I am about being the victim of like a road rage incident because I'm just not driving in a courteous way.
Roundabouts were also tricky.
Okay, here's our roundabout. Let's see what happens here. Okay. Whoa, all right. I don't think it understood how to use the roundabout because we're basically going the wrong way now. In fact, yeah, it's kind of like diverting itself a block so that it can avoid that roundabout. So I guess it doesn't understand that yet.
Sounds like another safe behavior. Can't figure out the intersection, can't do it safely, divert, go a different way, get to the destination anyway.
So a second roundabout proved more successful.
Okay, this time it found its way through.
Again, just want to take a quick moment here. So far, no mention of how fucking mind-blowing this software and its capabilities are. As we know, it's still in beta, it's still being tested, it's still improving. The fact that a fucking car can navigate its way, at least some of the time, perfectly, seamlessly, through a roundabout in a busy metropolitan city. Amazing.
The car also seemed to struggle with bollards, at one point almost plowing into one while taking a right turn.
Whoa, okay, so...
In nearby San Jose, popular YouTuber AI Addict posted a video that showed his car actually running over a bollard while on version 10.10.
We hit that.
We actually hit it.
We hit it.
Wow.
Where the system seems to perform better is in a more suburban setting.
We have a four-way stop. It's always done well with those. I've never had an issue where it didn't handle the four-way stops nice and clean.
Intersections were also better.
Here, it's trying to yield, but these cars are turning, so it'll eventually make its mind go. Okay.
Kevin Smith is a software engineer for a print-on-demand book manufacturer. Smith says he's been testing FSD beta for around 5,000 miles, and that most of the time, updates will mean solving one issue only to encounter another.
So basically, before the 10.5 update, and including 10.5, most of the issues I were having were related to like turn lanes and odd street markings and things like that. With 10.8, all those little turn lane issues and things, those all kind of went away, so they fixed those little things. But I started to have more and more disengagements for cars it's not yielding to or something like that.
Something else that Smith's noticed FSD beta struggle with is driving in low visibility, such as...
Again, just a moment here. I hate to point out the obvious, but as far as I'm aware, I know this is a crazy thought, most human drivers also struggle driving with poor visibility. Just saying, Some of those who don't really fancy continuing to be part of the gene pool will continue to push through and ultimately end up dying because they have an accident. They were driving through thick fog, rain, snow, sleet, etc. like a moron. Next minute dead. Generally speaking, there's a threshold for humans where the conditions are, you know what, I can't drive safely, I need to pull over and stop. Usually speaking, that's what people will do. So just again wanted to point this out in fairness. If this software is struggling when there's poor visibility, and humans also struggle when there's poor visibility, I'm not sure what the point would be.
During a rain or snowstorm.
In heavy snow, it pretty much is non-functional. It just tells you that it can't see and you need to go to take over.
Duh. My life.
The other issue I had was on our kind of rural roads. Whereas our main roads, they'll plow them. The rural roads, we cleared the middle of the road. And this car, because it could see the center yellow line, it wanted to stay on its lane. And that included keeping 2 tires in that big pile of ice and snow that you wouldn't drive on as a human.
A major concern that experts point to when it comes to FSD beta is a lack of transparency and oversight in pretty much all aspects of the program, starting with who gets to participate.
It's Tesla deciding who is good and who is bad here. There is no third party. It can't come down to the company alone to decide who is safe and who is not.
Controversial question, but why not? Why wouldn't it be okay for the company to determine the safety of this particular software or any technology, assuming they haven't given cause for concern? I mean, as I said, 0 accidents so far on this software, over 60,000 people using it on public roads today. Given that, is it too much of a stretch to say, you know what, this company's being super cautious, software is so far not causing problems, let them continue?
Brian Reamer agrees that there needs to be more transparency. He heads the Advanced Vehicle Technology Consortium at MIT, which is made up of a number of insurance providers, research organizations, and automakers.
Show me the data and prove it to me. Prove how you're using this data day in and day out, that this is an efficacious system enhancing the risk-benefit model on our roads. Much like the FDA requires drug manufacturers to prove the benefits of the pharmaceutical intervention inherently outweigh the risks, that is what I am looking for.
By the way, I think that's a totally fair point, completely reasonable. In the context of deploying this publicly to consumers who aren't being safety tested, whose scores aren't being tallied up, whose capabilities, whose willingness to sign up based on the terms, the agreements, monitor the software, be ready to take over at any time. If this was just being deployed to the general public, totally agree. Tesla surely should have to show data to prove the safety of this versus human drivers, the number of interventions, all sorts of data. Absolutely, totally agree. But to have deployed this software to date in beta and to have done so safely, hence no deaths, injuries, disabilities, accidents. At this stage, I don't think we need to see any data other than the data that's showing that there haven't been any problems with this software being out on public roads.
Thomas says we need to think beyond just the safety of drivers.
I think the problem with the auto industry is that we center everything around the person behind the wheel. What we lose is the human element and the impact to human beings who are not behind the wheel.
Thomas is the founder and CEO of Thrivens Group, a for-profit urban planning organization with a specific focus on marginalized communities.
We need to make sure that there's representation within private industry to make sure that the folks who are developing this AI technology understand the very important nuances of what it means to travel through space in a body that's not normative.
To travel through space in a body that's not normative. I'm assuming that's jargon for people with injuries, missing limbs, wheelchairs, these kind of... what? She's not talking about the car, is she? Traveling through space in a body that's not... Anyway, let's move on. I'm kind of confused.
How is this car going to recognize someone using an assistive device that maybe isn't a wheelchair and doesn't look like one? How is this technology going to be able to recognize someone who has purple undertones in their skin that don't react to the sensors that are in the car? Currently, children under the age of 16 are more likely to be killed by cars while walking down the street or riding their bike.
You know why? Because they're unpredictable and they do dumb shit. Their brains are still developing. Going back to the earlier point of the car being extremely cautious when around pedestrians, we saw the woman puts a foot in the street. It's great that this software is like, whoa, that's dangerous, because that could have been a dumb kid running out in front of a car. By the way, when I say a dumb kid, I really just mean a kid. No offense to kids, but you know what I'm talking about. This thing takes a long while to develop. I don't think mine's quite there yet either.
People with disabilities are more likely to be killed because of the speed at which cars are traveling.
Government agencies are increasing scrutiny of FSD beta. In a letter to Tesla in October 2021, the Department of Transportation's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reprimanded Tesla's use of non-disclosure agreements for early participants of FSD beta, calling the practice unacceptable and saying that it adversely impacts NHTSA's ability to obtain information relevant to safety. In a second letter to Tesla released that same day, the agency requested more details on how Tesla decides who gets beta access and specific information on the people involved. The NDA asked participants to keep their experience in the program confidential and to refrain from sharing any information regarding the program on social media sites or forums. Additionally, participants were asked not to use their vehicles for services like Lyft, Uber, Turo, or Scoop while enrolled in the early access program. Tesla eventually dropped the NDA requirement for beta participants, but Ogan thinks many are still nervous to talk about the system's issues from fear that they'll get the software taken away.
So this is conjecture or a random hypothesis that a lot of people are unwilling to talk about the negatives of this unfinished software that they've agreed to test and they know will make mistakes because they're fearful it will be taken away. Don't want to spoil anything here, but the whole point of the testing is to find the problems.
I think the most dangerous part about this are the people who are posting videos of flawless drives with zero interventions, zero disengagements. And that is incredibly misleading.
Hold up. Again, I understand if he's talking about tricky editing, you're cutting out every mistake. That's a fair point. But here's the thing. People are uploading videos. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're terrible. People are just uploading. Here's my experience. A zero intervention 20-minute drive, I think we saw there, Tesla Daily, Rob Mauer, something along those lines. It's a great piece of information to demonstrate some of the capabilities of this software. It's just information. It's real. Again, I'm not talking about tricky, crafty editing, that would never occur in something like this, just focusing on the negative, going for a couple hour drive and then just cutting out all the, wow, that was close things. It's important that we're seeing the full picture. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. I don't think there's anything dangerous or misleading about sharing something that actually happened. Or is that just me? You know what I'd prefer to see is an unedited 20-minute video rather than this CNBC hit piece. That would have been much more useful to me. 7 minutes for each of the 3 testers, that would have been perfect. Just show me a 7-minute run. I don't care what happens, just show me 7 minutes uncut. That's fair. But again, I don't understand what's misleading about showing something that actually occurred in reality.
I think that's really detrimental to the Tesla shareholders, to the other enthusiasts of these technologies, because they are led to believe that this system is a lot more capable than it is by a significant margin.
Tesla has been criticized for using terminology that exaggerates the capability of its vehicles.
It's clear that if you're marketing something as full self-driving and it is not full self-driving, and people are misusing the vehicles and the technology, that you have a design flaw and you have to prevent that misuse.
FSD beta is already being blamed for some accidents. In November, NHTSA announced that it was looking into a driver's complaint in which a 2021 Tesla Model Y was hit by another car after the Tesla went into the wrong lane while taking a left turn.
Just want to point out, this is not proof of an incident. It's very important to understand this. Anybody could submit one of these complaints. Just putting that out there. And before we get any further, again, 60,000 plus people with access to this software. Assuming that this is a legitimate collision, a single accident, out of how many millions of miles driven?
At the time, the complaint to NHTSA says the car was using FSD beta. Another consumer complaint to the agency released in February states that a 2021 Tesla Model S misjudged the road and took too wide of a turn, which resulted in the car going slightly off the road. The complaint says beta was engaged at the time. Tesla recently ordered a recall of its FSD beta software for more than 53...
Oh man, the term recall gets me every time. I don't know if it's just me. I know it's semantics, but recall to me suggests something is physically recalled to its manufacturer. Every time Tesla makes an over-the-air software update modifying a feature, etc., it's called a recall. 500,000 Tesla vehicles recall means Tesla pressed a button and did a software update to 500,000 vehicles over the air. I'm sure recall gets a lot more clicks.
3,000 vehicles to retract a feature that allowed Teslas to automatically roll past stop signs without first coming to a stop. The recall won't require a visit to the shop. Tesla can fix the issues with a free over-the-air software update. During our drive in San Francisco, we experienced our own stop sign incident.
Okay, that's a stop sign that we just almost ran through, so that's not good.
Public confusion over the availability of autonomous vehicle technology is also a problem. One survey of 4,000 vehicle owners found that 19% of customers thought fully autonomous vehicles are already available for sale.
If a respondent said that they believe it is in the marketplace right now, we asked them to give us an example. And we did this in an open-ended fashion. The most commonly mentioned word in those verbatim comments.
Amid the panic of realizing you're about to be exposed to being full of shit, because you jumped to a conclusion and made an assumption without actually having a reason to make that conclusion, now you're exposed. Oh, shit, Tesla, I've seen someone on YouTube, that'll do. I'm sure there are some subset of people out there who may mistakenly believe that these vehicles can drive themselves. But I can tell you what, it's 0% of the people who actually own one, the people using these vehicles. That's a very important distinction.
Is Tesla. The fact that Tesla is very top of mind, it really demonstrates that the brand is shaping consumer expectations, even though they're currently not producing a fully automated self-driving vehicle yet. So I think we really have to be careful in how we're messaging things.
I want to point out the obvious here. Let's rewind and pay closer attention.
That Tesla is very top of mind. It really demonstrates that the brand is shaping consumer expectations.
Tesla is shaping consumer expectations around autonomous vehicles. This is true, absolutely true. And it's also important. This is literally the reason why Tesla called this software full self-driving beta software, because they know ultimately it will become full self-driving. Let's think about another feature here, Tesla Smart Summon. Initially, and still today, in fact, in many cases, this ain't Smart Summon. This is Dumb Summon. This is Dipshit Summon. Eventually, it will be Smart Summon, but at this point in time, at best, it drives like your grandma. So when Tesla's developing a feature, should it have an entirely different name until its capabilities reach a certain threshold? Maybe they should have called it Dumb Summon instead of Smart Summon, or does it make more sense, especially with consumer expectations, brand awareness of products and features? Does it make more sense to just call the thing what it will ultimately be? From a strategic point of view, it makes a hell of a lot more sense to be describing this software, in particular, full self-driving, as what it will ultimately be. Should you not do this, you're going to have a huge learning curve that could take years. Instead of building consumer expectations around autonomy, you have to launch this brand new product with a brand new name and now generate the awareness of its capabilities.
Even though they're currently not producing a fully automated self-driving vehicle yet. So I think we really have to be careful in how we're messaging things as an industry.
Most of the experts we spoke to agree that there needs to be more oversight of FSD beta, as well as all autonomous vehicle testing in general. There are no federal laws regulating the operation or testing of autonomous vehicles on public roads. Instead, states have taken a piecemeal approach to regulation through a mix of local legislation and executive orders, with varying degrees of strictness.
The best thing that government can do when it comes to regulations is to set guardrails for companies and the industry that put hard stops in place beyond which the companies and the technology shouldn't go, but they also give them a lot of latitude and agility to develop the technology within those guardrails. And at that point,
I think this is a very reasonable statement so far.
We see the social benefits and social rewards of it while avoiding some of the more egregious risks.
But some argue that regulation doesn't have to strictly come from the government.
I am of the belief that proper checks and balances don't have to always happen by way of local government, that there are community interest groups that would be happy to support Tesla and anyone else looking to innovate in this way, to make sure that the folks whose interests they represent truly are safe once these vehicles make it onto the roadway.
Meanwhile, even the testers that we spoke to are split on whether testing using consumers is safe.
I don't think it's right that customers are able to just test this.
By using the FSD beta on public streets, I don't feel I'm increasing the assumed risk that people are putting themselves in by also being on those public streets. We share those streets with people who are, using a car for the first time with their learner's permit. I believe if someone is not paying attention and they're using their cell phone and they're doing these things, then there is an increased risk, but that same individual likely is doing those same things when they're not on FSD beta.
Very well said. I completely agree. To sum that point up, people who do dumb shit, who are unsafe on roads, who do things like play with their phone and distracted drivers, are putting themselves and everyone at risk, whether or not they're testing beta software.
If I thought there was a risk of injuring someone, I wouldn't be doing it.
I understand why Tesla might want to get novice testers out there experiencing it, But I definitely think that that's a huge risk that consumers take when they are doing this on public roads.
The huge risk that has resulted in how many fatalities, injuries and permanent disabilities was it so far out of the 60,000 plus people testing this? What was that number? It comes before 1. Oh, 0. Just saying. So I hope this CNBS hit piece has generated a lot of business for Taylor and the bullshit capital wealth management, whatever it was called. Can't remember, sorry. I think there were some valid points made throughout, but 90% of what we saw was distortions of the facts, clear negative bias and agenda to paint this software as dangerous, to cause fear, uncertainty, doubt, panic. You know, the usual FUD tactics. Why? Because it generates eyeballs and therefore advertising revenue. The more negative, the easier you pay your bills. And Tesla is the lowest hanging fruit of all. Of course, it wouldn't generate the attention, but a fair, reasonable representation of this software would look something like this. This software is absolutely fucking incredible. It's still learning, it's still getting better. Much like a learner driver will make mistakes in the early days, but the progress of its capabilities in just the last year is absolutely phenomenal. This software is well on the way to matching and then ultimately far exceeding human capabilities and ultimately saving millions of lives per year. You want to know something scary? Throughout your lifetime, you have approximately a 1% chance of dying in a car accident. This is about 1% too high. I personally believe that there was an agenda. The producers really wanted to paint a certain narrative, and I don't think this is a good strategy overall. These kind of pieces can scare people, they can create pressure. A lot of people, there's going to be a few butthurt babies there who saw this piece, don't have a brain, don't do any research, and decide that they immediately start opposing this software because it's going to kill people, it's unsafe, it's dangerous. These kind of clowns get enough momentum, this software can actually be delayed and held up, and ultimately this will cost people their lives, their livelihoods, and cause a great deal more suffering, pain, and injury than needs to happen otherwise. What do you guys and girls think? Was CNBS fair? Is this reasonable? Was it unbiased? Am I just a deluded Tesla fanboy who can't deal with any negative criticism? Or do you think there's something to the fact that these negative, fuddy kind of hit pieces, especially around this potentially life-saving, injury-preventing, disability-preventing software, are unethical, dangerous, and just plain wrong? If you're still watching, congrats on making it through. This is a monstrous video, one of the longest of all time on this channel. And don't forget, if you'd like access to exclusive content, including a new video I've just posted, almost half an hour long on health, vitality, and longevity. I'm sharing all the latest things that I'm doing, my existing habits, plus my next action steps. So if you're interested in health, optimization, well-being, etc., hit the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment to join Patreon. All supporters at all levels gain access to over 100 exclusive Q&A videos and dozens of other exclusive pieces of content as well, and exclusive access to my Tesla stock price targets all the way out to 2031 in the bear case, the base case, and the bull case. So if you're not already part of the community in Patreon, hit the link in the pinned comment and I'll see you over there. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can get 2 free stocks with WeBull, a free stock with Stake, free Bitcoin with Coinbase, and free Bitcoin with BlockFi, and the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.